Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Marvin Plackett, and today is Thursday, April 9th. Greetings to residents, staff, guests, and the whole world. I hope you are doing well. Quick shout out to Jean. Jean lives at Iris Park Commons. Jean, I loved your note that you gave me yesterday. Dear Marvin and management, I just hate wearing my mask. But since you asked, I will make one. Thank you, Jean. Thanks, Jean. You know what? These masks are not comfortable for any of us. I fully understand. I fully appreciate that. And Jean was very honest. And Jean did the right thing, and thank you, Jean, and to all of you out there that are following this same practice that Jean is. Yes, it's not comfortable. Yes, it's not fun, but when you're not in your units, wear your masks, just as Jean is going to. And the staff, of course, need to be wearing their masks at all times. Another shout out to Cherie. Cherie lives at Cornelia House. Thank you, Cherie, for your very nice note. I appreciate that. The main topic, of course, every update is COVID cases, and I'm very pleased to report that once again we have no confirmed COVID-19 cases on our campus or at Episcopal Homes, anywhere at Episcopal Homes. Very delighted to once again provide that as the update, and that's the way we want to keep it, of course. Governor Walz, yesterday, I'm sure most of you tuned in to watch his broadcast at 2 o'clock, and a few of the highlights are that, number one, the stay-at-home order is remaining in place through May 4th. And here at Episcopal Homes, what that means is that nothing changes. This is what I thought would occur. Nothing changes. And even when May 4th comes, there may be some lifting of restrictions, but I highly doubt that there are going to be any lifting of restrictions when it comes to long-term care campuses like Episcopal Homes. But just sticking with the facts, because remember, we want to focus always on the facts and not the fears. The facts, not the fears. And so Governor Walz has kept the stay-at-home order in place through May 4th, and we'll all be watching for updates. Social distancing really matters. Just today in the papers, I read of multiple cases displaying where when social distancing wasn't honored, when gatherings occurred, and I know that you have heard and read a number of these yourself. A few that stood out to me is in Chicago, where one person who was infected with COVID-19 attended both a funeral and a birthday party, just a few days apart. And within a few days of that person attending those two events, 16 people were infected and 3 of them died. That's the power of just one person doing the wrong thing, mixing about in society when they shouldn't be. Just this week, there was a nursing home in Riverside, California that had to evacuate everyone because of the residents, and actually I'm not sure what their capacity was, but 34 of the residents came down with COVID-19, and many of the staff did, and those that didn't, they refused to come to work, so they had to evacuate the nursing home. And there was another nursing home, it was last week, I don't remember where it was, but in any case where they had a similar situation. So the action steps that we are taking here at Episcopal Homes, while they cannot offer guarantees, they really make a difference. So far, again, we remain COVID-19 free. And even if a case does occur, we have, for now several weeks, we have had our zones in place. We have asked everyone to stick to your communities, stick to your zones, do not gather together other than those situations where there may be an activity, but those that are leading it are very cognizant and conscientious about keeping that 6-foot distance at a minimum, the social distancing, all these practices, they really matter. If we get a case one day, we want that case to be isolated to a very narrow zone, and we immediately put in place, of course, all of the PPE gear and all of the measures that are required by the health department, etc., and that we contain any spread so that we don't have anything occur like has occurred in some of these situations that I've just referred to. Yesterday, part of Governor Wall's presentation that I found particularly illuminating is, and I'm just going to be quoting from today's Pioneer Press, one chart that Governor Walz highlighted examined how Minnesota stood compared with 16 other states in terms of cases per 100,000 residents, starting at a point when each state confirmed its first 100 cases. The graph clearly illustrates Minnesota progressing along a flatter trajectory than that of any other state. Walz attributed this to Minnesota's relatively early adoption of major restrictions. Quote, "The move to go early has kept us relatively flat," he said, adding that the level of compliance from residents appears to be strong. However, Walz also drew cautionary attention to one facet of the graph. In early stages, COVID-19 illnesses were more prevalent in Minnesota than New York. I had forgotten that fact. They were more prevalent in Minnesota than in New York and close to that of Louisiana. Both of those states now have major outbreaks, and the graph shows the speed at which that happened. Quote, "It took 10 days for us to remain flat and New York to go into crisis situation." So there's the power of social distancing. Governor Walz has said multiple times, the only vaccine that we have right now is social distancing. That's why the effort that we are putting in, the sacrifice that you are employing, that you are experiencing, that I am experiencing, it really matters. That's our vaccine, social distancing. So those stats that Governor Walz focused on, I thought they were wonderfully illustrative of the work and effort and sacrifice that you are doing and that I are doing, how the difference it makes. It really matters. Just a reminder, of course, we have Easter now in just 3 more days. And as I've said multiple times, and as the memo pointed out last week, do not attend family gatherings. I know we all want to, and I say do not do that. It's vital that we not do that, because that would violate the law, that would violate the stay-at-home law that Governor Walz put in place, and also it of course greatly compromises our situation here at Episcopal Homes, where we remain COVID-19. We don't want anybody to be exposed. The principles that I'm talking about here don't go to any family gatherings, apply to everybody, staff, residents, etc. So don't go to family gatherings for Easter. Lastly, I want to end with a phrase that may sound odd. Happy Easter. And I genuinely mean that. And of course, I know it's going to be different because you're not going to be able to participate in the routine that you normally would. I am not going to be able to do that. I am, though, going to for sure find a way to have a happy Easter. It's going to be my wife and me at home, and we're not going to be with our children. We're not going to be with our in-laws. We're not going to be with our extended family. We're not going to be with anybody else. But we are going to be connecting with those family members, those extended family, with our in-laws, etc. And so we're going to have a good time. We're going to make ourselves a special meal, and we are going to be making phone calls, and we are going to be on FaceTime, and we are going to be sharing stories, and we are going to be making one another feel okay. Better than that, we're going to have a good Easter. I know we will. It's just going to be different. And so once again, I wish you a happy Easter in the way that you find best works for you. And one of the best things I find is reach out to somebody else, make somebody else have a happy Easter. and that in turn will cause you to have a happy Easter. Tomorrow is Good Friday. I will not be here. There will not be this daily live stream tomorrow. The next one will be on Monday. Good Friday is always one of our annual holidays here at Episcopal Homes. And so take care, everyone, until Monday at 1:30. Wishing you well. And, we all are in this together, and we all need to buoy one another's spirits and all work together to keep our strong situation going, where we have no cases and where we buoy one another's spirits. Once again, I've said this multiple times, social distancing is good. It's vital. Social isolation is bad. Make sure you reach out, connect. All right? Take care. And now some words from Phil Rose.
Thank you, Marvin. And of course, in spiritual life, we don't get Good Friday off. We'll be here. We'll have a service at 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. I want to wish happy Passover to all of our Jewish residents and Jewish staff as well. Passover started last night and will end this evening at sundown. And about Passover, this afternoon at 3:30, during our Good Afternoon Spiritual Life, Grady Lee Shapiro, who is on our Creative Ventures staff, will be joining us to give us a talk about Passover and what Passover is about, and we will all learn a little something. So I'm looking forward to that at 3:30 today. So for those of you who are Christian, you may be aware that the Holy Triduum started today. It's a liturgy that actually lasts 3 days, Thursday, Friday, and then Sunday or Saturday evening, depending. It is one long liturgy that we started this morning at 10, tomorrow at 2, and then on Sunday morning at 10 again. So I hope that you join us for that. If you are interested in following along with that, we have the lyrics to the songs that we are singing and the hymns that we are singing available through your housing managers. So ask your housing manager and they will have made a copy of that for you. I would like to thank Barbara Dennis, who lives in the Terrace. No, she doesn't. She lives in Cornelia, who lives in Cornelia, for sending me the poem that I'd like to read to you today. When this is all over, may we never again take for granted a handshake with a stranger, full shelves at the store, conversations with neighbors, a crowded theater, Friday night out, the taste of communion, a routine checkup, the school rush each morning, coffee with a friend, the stadium roaring, each deep breath, a boring Tuesday, life itself. May it be so. Be well, friends, and we will see you at 3:30.